Good afternoon, everyone. Good morning if you're in WA. Welcome to our first of our July webinars. And for those of you who have not met David yet, we've got a new face today. This is David Wilson. David is our product manager here at Logiqc, and David has been responsible and been managing the team that have been doing all of these wonderful things over the last few months. And it's really nice to have David here with me today to come and talk to us about this a bit more technical aspect, as is both the webinars this month's going to be. It's going to be today looking at multi-factor authentication, and then next week David will be with me as well to talk to us about everything that they as a product team's done over the last 12 months. So before we begin, I'd like to acknowledge the traditional owners on the lands on which we meet today and pay my respect to elders past and present. As a gentle reminder, our webinar today is recorded and it will be on the Logiqc Academy, and it will also be sent out to you in the mail out. If you do have any questions for David, please pop them in the chat or the Q&A, and I'll relay them, because today I am the interviewer, so that'll be a really great change. And without further ado, I'm going to stop sharing my screen because maybe David wants to share his in a minute or so, and I'm gonna ask the first question. And I think for everyone, David, if you could just give us a bit of an overview as to why Logiqc decided to go or to develop MFA, and what is the benefits of that for all of our users?
Yeah, sure. First of all, thanks for the kind introduction there, Elizabeth, and pleasure to meet you all. So why did we develop MFA? I think it is what we feel is a market expectation these days. Security is critical to our customers, and MFA really provides that next layer of security on top of just a regular username and password. So as part of us just doing our regular work as a business, there's obviously evolving threats. Security is becoming more and more important, and we need to stay on the front foot. So the reason that we released this feature is we felt that it provided that extra layer of security for our customers, and they would benefit from that. Yeah, I'll throw back over to you, Elizabeth. You might have some more questions there in terms of how it works or something.
That was exactly what I was going to ask you next. How does that work in Logiqc? What is the experience going to be for our users should they look at implementing MFA in their instance of Logiqc?
Yeah, okay. So I'm going to split this into two separate groups. We have customers who are currently using SSO, so single sign-on, at the moment. And the way that works is, if you're already using single sign-on, the best way for you to use MFA, which is your multi-factor authentication, is to do that through your SSO provider. So what we've done with MFA is we've added it to the application so that if you're not using SSO, you have that capability built into our application. So those that are using those external logins that are not part of SSO, that feature is available, and that capability is available for our customers, for their users to actually use. So that's breaking it up into two broad categories to begin with. So I'll focus on the non-SSO customer to begin with, and what that experience looks like. So by default, for existing customers, it's turned off. You have to opt in to actually turning on MFA, and there's a few ways to actually do that. There's a system setting that you can use to make it available and enforce it for all users in your organization if you're not using SSO for those particular users. And the first time that they come in, they'll be prompted to use MFA. The other way that you can do it is you can do it on an individual basis. So you can go through and target specific user accounts that you want to enable MFA on, which is handy because you may choose not to roll it out across your organization. You may choose to do it just for a subset of users who have elevated privileges in the application, and you feel like you need that extra layer of security. In terms of the experience for MFA, it won't be foreign to you. If you've used MFA in any other situation, it should feel fairly normal for your end users in terms of what they would expect. You're going to use an authenticator app for those users that are the end users who are actually getting the MFA challenge. And typically, you would have used the Google Authenticator app or the Microsoft Authenticator app to actually do that. So that's a little bit just broadly what that user experience is like in terms of control, and then what that end user can kind of see. We can probably even get into some demos, a quick demo if you'd like, Elizabeth, as well.
I was just going to ask you, David, so it sounds to me like this is going to be the responsibility, well, an organisational decision, but the responsibility of the system administrator to set that up. Can you give us a demo of what that's going to look like?
Yeah, sure can. I just noticed a question pop through there as well, so
I'll have a look at that.
Jump onto that in a minute. Yeah, so I'm just going to share a window here.
Okay, so while you set up, Natalie's wanting to know, how do you know which authenticator app to use? It doesn't really matter, does it? Whether you're Google or
yeah, there's a wide variety that you can use. The two that I would recommend would be the Microsoft Authenticator app or the Google Authenticator app, and it's quite simple when you go to use these things. So I will get into more of this when we're looking at a demo, but essentially what happens is if you're using it on our web platform, after you put in your username and password for the first time, you'll see a QR code pop up on the screen. And I'm sure we're all used to QR codes after COVID times and having to scan a lot of those a couple of years ago. That essentially you open up your authenticator app, so you would install the Microsoft or Google Authenticator app. There's a little add button that's in like the top right hand corner for the Microsoft one. You scan that QR code, and then it basically gives you an entry in a list that you would see in that app. It's like a 6-digit code. And that's the 6-digit code that you're going to enter into our app. So it'll be pretty straightforward once I go through the demo. It should all click together, but that's a rough run through of how it works. So I'm just going to go into an area that's in our admin mode at the moment. And I'm going to show you, first of all, under system settings, where you would enable it for everyone. So if I go to general settings here, you'll see this enforce multi-factor authentication for all users. So if I tick this, it gives a little bit of a explainer as to what's going to happen here. So for all users that are doing a direct sign-in, so not SSO, the next time that they come in and if they put in their username and password, they'll get that screen with the QR code where they'll then scan that, they'll get back their 6-digit PIN, and then they'll enter that in on the following screen, and then they'll be able to access the web application as they normally do. So that's what that experience would be like. If you look to only do it for specific individuals, the next area that we go to is under users, and I'm just going to filter on myself here. So if I go here and I scroll down, we'll see this authentication here where it's got multi-factor authentication. So if I just tick and turn that on, what that's going to do when I save that, the next time that I log out and log back in again, I'm going to receive that multi-factor authentication challenge. Now, I might just go back into the screen for 1 second because there's a couple of the things that I'd like to point out. You'll notice here there's a reset MFA button. It's currently disabled because I've not signed in using MFA yet. But if your users ever get into trouble and they for some reason have lost their phone, they don't have their authenticator app any longer, they can contact a system administrator and they can click the reset MFA button, and then they'll get that same challenge that they'd previously got where they scan the QR code the next time that they come in. So that's a nice sort of way to regain access if someone's lost the PIN through their authenticator app at any particular point in time.
Great. David, would you mind logging out and logging back in and showing us how it works?
Yeah, definitely.
Thank you.
Okay, so if I log out here and I log in, this is the QR code. So I'm going to take out my trusty phone here and I'm going to open up the Microsoft Authenticator app on my phone. I'm going to hit the plus button. I'm going to select that. I'm going to scan that code. So I have a new PIN. So I'm going to click continue. And then I'm going to enter in the PIN that I've got in my app now. And as soon as I entered the last digit, it automatically submitted, and I'm in. And it's as simple as that. So that's that next layer of protection. So you can see it's quite simple there. All I did is have an authenticator app installed, Microsoft Authenticator or Google Authenticator. I've scanned that QR code when I've gone in there. It's given me back a 6-digit PIN, and I've just typed that in, and it's continued on. So the next time that I log out and log back in again, it's going to ask me for a PIN again. So I'll go back to my Authenticator app. I'll see a PIN that's in there. Now, these PINs change all the time. They're sort of time bound. So they'll change over a period of time. So you don't have the same code all the time, which is providing that layer of security for you. So you'll go back into your Authenticator app, you'll look at the PIN, you'll type it in, you'll be able to continue on.
David, I have a question here.
Yeah.
John is asking if there is a way to get around that authenticator challenge each time you log in, because he's a quality manager and he's away from his desk, he turns switches off Logiqc, logs out, logs back in, and now he's going to be faced with that challenge every time. Is there a way to get around it?
Yeah, so it's completely up to our end users and their administrators how they'd like to configure MFA. You're not forced into actually having to use it. Like I said, it's there for that next layer of protection for those that are, very security conscious and you're working with highly sensitive data. So for those user accounts that you don't want to do that MFA challenge for, you would just have MFA turned off, and it's just going to work as per regular Logic works at the moment, where you just do your regular username and password. So this is more of an opt-in rather than something that's on by default and you need to go and turn off. So Logic will just work exactly the same way it is today. So you're completely in the driver's seat and you have the control. You can choose to turn that on for individual users if you would like, or you could look to turn it on for everyone in your organization if you're not using SSO. So that's probably the way to, if you do find it's an inconvenience and you're not worried about having that extra layer of security, you can continue to keep it turned off like it is today.
Right. Thanks for that, David. Now, I tend to sometimes misplace my mobile. If I've lost my phone or I deleted my Authenticator app, what happens then?
Yeah, so I'll show you. So that's essentially that reset button that we were looking at before. So if I go into admin mode, so this is for end users. If I'll get to if you're a system administrator in a minute, because there's a way that we can help you out at Logic for that. Right, so this, you can see this reset MFA button's available for me now. So if you're an administrator and any of your users are using MFA, and for whatever reason they've lost their phone, they've deleted their Authenticator app or something like that, you can simply hit that reset MFA button, and the next time that they go to log in again, they'll be provided with that QR code that they can scan with their new phone if they've had to go out and buy a new one, or a different Authenticator app that they're using, and they can simply use that to get back in. Now, if you're the top level of system access inside of your organization and you've found that you've accidentally locked yourself out because you've lost your phone, or you've deleted your Authenticator app, you can always get in contact with us here at Logic, and we can help unlock and provide access for you. Again, we'll be doing that same type of reset, but just obviously for those top level accounts.
Oh, great. So they can just go through support at logic.com.au or open the ticket and do it that way.
Yeah,
okay.
100%.
Now, we've recently we've released the native app or a mobile app. If I'm a mobile app user, how does MFA impact me then, David?
Yeah, okay. So it's much the same as what you just saw for web. So first of all, if you've already gone through and done your MFA first initial scan the QR code with your app and put it in there, you're already set up. So essentially, the next time that you go to your mobile device, if you've got MFA enabled for your account, you'll do the similar thing. You'll put in your username and password. You'll be prompted for that 6-digit PIN. You'll jump off to your authenticator app. You'll copy the PIN. You'll come back. It'll automatically paste it in for you because we're trying to be very helpful. And then it'll just continue on. And you'll be straight into Logiqc as you were before. If you've not logged in on web before by scanning the QR code and it's already in your authenticator app, what we do is rather than show a QR code, because you're already using your phone at this point, you're not going to necessarily scan it. We have a special key that's there. It's a key that's like fairly long in digits. So we've got a convenient little copy button that's on there. So you tap that, you go off to your authenticator app again. Now, normally it would come up where you would go into a camera mode and you go to scan it. There's an option underneath that, which is to enter the key manually. So you type that and then you paste the key that you've already got from our application because you've hit that copy button, and then it'll go through the same process. It'll give you that 6-digit PIN for you to use again. You simply go back into the Logiqc app. It automatically pastes that PIN because you copied it and you're in again. So we've catered on both mobile and web experiences so that you can do that first time MFA challenge on both. But conveniently, if you've done it on one or the other, it's already in your authenticator app. You'll just have to enter in that 6-digit PIN the next time if you have it turned on.
Great, that's amazing. And this is something we gave away for free, isn't it, David? It's not going to cost anyone anything. It's just an enhancement that we wanted to do from a security perspective.
Yeah, we're working hard on security as a business. Like I said, there's constant threats evolving in the security space, and we want to make sure that we're well positioned and trusted by our customers. They're making with us making sure that we're doing everything that we can possibly do to make sure that customers' data is safe and secure. So this is just one of many security initiatives that we're working on, but we're very glad to be able to provide it to customers for free and provide that layer of security.
Great. I'll just ask if anyone wants to pop any additional questions in for David. Please feel free to do so. David, is there anything else we need to know about this or anything more that you can share with us?
Yeah, there's a whole bunch of information that's available in I'll just share my screen again, in our knowledge base. If you'd like to come back and take a look at that at any time. Katie, our learning experience designer, has been doing a lot of work in here. It's all very beautiful in terms of how it's laid out and the quality of information that's there. So if you go through to our knowledge base at the moment and you go to security, down the bottom here you'll see a few different sections which are about MFA, turning it on for your organization, manage MFA for individual users, and the reset, which we've all gone through today. But if you need to come back and refresh yourself on any of this, this information is all available, clearly laid out. Yeah, it's pretty easy to consume. And if you still have problems, obviously you can reach out to support like you normally would.
Yeah, Katie's great at designing these articles, and it's really useful because you don't always, it's not something that you're going to have to do as an administrator all that often, is to reset people's passwords. So it is really useful that you know that that article will be there. And, you know, if you click on the help icon at any stage, that will kind of be in there for you quickly and easily. So if you type MFA, that'll come up and you'll have access to that article. I don't see any other questions, David. So from my side, thank you so much. I know that this is a game changer for so many of our organisations because it's come up a lot for you guys in support over the last 12 to 18 months, questions about MFA. And next week, David will be with us again and we'll talk about all of the improvements that they've made over the 12 months. And David might give us a bit of a sneak peek as to what's coming up. So I won't spoil that, but I will say thank you so much for being with us today. And thank you, everyone, for being with us again today. If you do have anything, please pop it in the chat. reach out to support@logic.com.au, or if it's relating to customer success and you want to have some other conversations, you can always contact us at customersuccess@logic.com.au. Thank you. And thanks for all the claps and the hearts. And David, thank you again for being with us today. It was great to have you.
Pleasure. Look forward to the next one.
Yeah, absolutely. Enjoy your day, everyone. We'll talk to you soon. See ya.
Bye.
Bye.